Okay, it's just after 6:30, so we shall begin. Welcome everybody. Thank you for enduring our slight technical hitches there. There's always one or two running an event like this online. Although looking out the window, I'm quite glad we are running it online this evening, saving us all going out there and enjoying a perfect Melbourne winter's evening, which a lot of the stories that we received for the competition keyed into. But before we begin, I'd just like to do an acknowledgement of country. Brimbank City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional custodians of this land, the Wurundjeri people, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. As a part of this presentation, closed captioning is available and a live transcript as well, and subtitles if you have any hearing difficulties or accessibility difficulties. You should be able to access that at the bottom of your screen. And there's a live transcript that you can access at any time as well, which should contain everything that we say with some degree of accuracy. Expect a few spelling mistakes in there. Before we begin, we'd also like to acknowledge all of the people who submitted work for the competition. So this competition is a part of the Brimbank Writers and Readers Festival 2021. And we had many people from across the municipality submit, and we're very grateful for all the entries that were received. We'd also like to thank our esteemed judge and author Richard Holt for helping us with the extremely difficult task of picking between all of the great entries that we had, and the hard-working committee behind the Brimbank Writers and Readers Festival, who put a festival on with only 6 months where they usually would have a year. So they worked very hard. So all that out of the way, welcome to the 2021 Brimbank Writers and Readers Festival Microfiction Awards. My name's Scott. I'm a librarian at Brimbank Library Service, and I was one of the many people who had the pleasure of reading the pieces that were submitted. Thank you for joining us in this celebration of Western Suburbs writing. We were really excited to be able to run a writing competition this year as part of the festival. We haven't run one for ages, and yeah, we were really excited as to what we would see and the sort of writing that we would get, and to be able to celebrate the writing talent of our municipality. And what talent there was. We received a broad spectrum of entries into the competition that ranged in theme and tone from just across the entire spectrum of genre. We had a theme, as you know, that was sunshine in winter, and the entrance to the competition interpreted that in all sorts of wonderful and interesting ways, from stories about weather through to stories about vampires, stories about gods, and even a story about dog poop, which is one of the stories that we've chosen to read today. So I hope you're looking forward to that one. It really, really stood out to us. Now, choosing 3 stories from such a strong field of entrants was really challenging, which is why we enlisted the help of microfiction author and teacher, Richard Holt, who does workshops on microfiction all around the city. He's published books of microfiction. He's a real expert in the area. And it was with his help that we're able to select the final 3 pieces that were up for awards this evening, which we'll get onto a little bit later. Of course, we're going to read out those winning entries, and we're going to read them aloud. But before we do so, we'd like to celebrate some of the other standout entries from this year's awards. 3 of our library staff have volunteered to read 3 of the runner-up stories that were submitted, stories that I'm sure you're going to love. Now, we've got a mixture of live readings and pre-recorded readings due to the nature of this being an online event. So I'll be sharing my screen with you to show you some of those video sessions. If you can't hear them, please let me know. Just put your hand up or send a chat message and we'll work it out. Now, the first piece is a fantastic microfiction story, and its title is Power Outage by Tom Halpin. It's one that really stood out to us, and one of our library staff members, Ricky Boutinard, volunteered to read it, and she's pre-recorded a video for us, and I'll get that video up for you now so that we can hear Tom Halpinard's Power Outage. Just give me a second. Okay, there it is.
Today I'll be reading Powerage. The cabin lights flickered twice, leaving the room in morning darkness. The wind and rain continued their conversation outside. A text message from electricity provider confirmed the power outage. Jem spotted Billy's yellow pimples underneath her bed. At least the milk won't go off, she laughed. Billy slunk further back, cornered. She lit a candle in the room and watched the flames flicker in the cold air. Jem paused at a photograph of Ned Kelly and held his gaze. She often spoke, sometimes intimately, to the photographs on the wooden door. Not today, she said. An orange hued light filtered through the dark grey clouds. From her armchair, Jem stared at the vacancy of the ocean, unravelling her grief. Tears welled in her eyes like droplets of rain caught on the window pane. Angie, the realtor, said the cabin was a refuge for merchant sailors. Jem conjured the smell of cigar smoke infusing its small wood interior. She liked Angie, but couldn't remember why. Did Angie remind her of Liz? Snap, crackle, pop. The fridge hummed. The oil heater radiated back to life, but the lights didn't switch on. Billy resurfaced. It was only 9 a.m.
Nice one.
So that was Tom Halpin's Power Outage, read by Ricky Bertinaff from Libraries. Just a fantastic piece, I think, so evocative. Just the tears on the tears related to the window, the water running down the glass. Just a beautiful piece, full of emotion. Lovely. Thank you very much, Tom, for submitting that to us. We just loved reading it. Our second piece, I may have talked up a little bit at the start there, mentioning that we have a story regarding dog poo. And this story is a little different from the one we just had. I've never read a story about dog poo before, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised when I read this one, as were the judges. It's just a fantastic story. Its title is Deadly Poo by Ursula Vasevich, and it's read aloud by library staff member Deanne Spagnolo. So I'll cue that video up for you now.
Today I'm reading Deadly Poo. It's getting dark and the shadows are lengthening in the working class residential area sunshine. Wiltshire Street is deserted as I walk home after a late shift at the Brimbank in London. Beyond the lights, the night is dark, and suddenly I hear running footsteps and screaming. I'm too scared to look back, so I hasten my steps as my teeth start to chatter. Then there is deadly silence. My heart is hammering 19 to the dozen. Suddenly the footsteps and screams start again, and motor taken by a woman trying to control her bolting dog. I lean on the nearest wall in relief and realise the deadly silence was no more than a break for doggy poo.
So thank you, Deanne, for reading that. And thank you, Ursula, for submitting it. That was Deadly Poo. We didn't have as many comedic stories as I would expect submitted. So that one was very refreshing and just a fantastic story. I see there's some...
Refreshing, Scott, that's one way of putting it.
Yes. A refreshing story about dog poo.
Yeah.
I've been told that some of the videos may sound a little bit quiet, so you might need to turn the volume up a bit at your end. Apologies for that. If it's the case, I don't think I can control the volume of the video here. I've got it at maximum. So if you can turn up your volume at home, fantastic. So thank you again, Ursula. We now have a piece by one of our younger writers. Now, despite this competition having an 18 years of age cutoff to be eligible for prizes, we had a number of submissions from younger writers in the municipality who were so passionate and keen about writing that they wanted to submit regardless of their not being eligible for prizes, which is just fantastic. And we got some amazing writing from them, some real standout pieces. And this piece in particular was one that really impressed us and really impressed Richard, our judge. And this piece is Untitled, written by a writer by the name of Elise P. from Sunshine Heights Primary. And we have it here today, read aloud by library staff member Bartka Provis. So I'll tee that up for you now.
I'm absolutely delighted to be reading this next story. It was highly regarded by the judges, and it is by Elise P. It's Untitled. The air was crisp, leaving the tip of your nose rosy and pink. Snowflakes floated and swirled through the air, nestling in the air, only to take off and flight again. The trees were blanketed in a thin layer of pure white snow, tiny icicles dangling off the tip of the frosted leaves. Goosebumps would ripple through your skin, your breath visible in the air, like a dragon's. A grand, majestic waterfall stands tall. It seemed frozen in time. It seemed to be resting like the bears hibernating. It seemed so quiet, no water running, no water splashing. It was cold to the touch. It sizzled the tip of your fingers, the cold running up through your hand. It was frozen, winter doing its magic. Then a beam of sunlight filtered through the trees, warming the waterfall. Then another beam of sunlight, then another and another. You smile, a wide, bright smile, as the frozen waterfall starts to melt. The water starts flowing, then rushes down, spraying fresh spring water in your face. The sound of the waterfall floods your ears, clearing your mind like a breath of fresh air, closing the book on a truly magical winter.
That was great.
Thank you, Elise. And thank you, Barker, for reading that. Now, that is just
how. So, do we know how old Elise is?
I'm not sure, but Elise is a primary school student.
Yeah.
We had a number of submissions from her class, and they were uniformly great. Hers in particular stood out to Richard. And it's just, yeah, I think she has a bright future as a writer, and I think writing in the municipality of Brimbank has a bright future if she's representative of the school students out there.
In our chat, someone, Nat has told us that Elise is 11.
11?
Wow. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that is extremely impressive. As a result of receiving so many entries from young people, we're looking to run a microfiction competition in term 4 for younger people. We're still working it out at the moment. When it's all organised, we'll get the word out, and this is one where younger people will be eligible for prizes, which will be great. So we're really looking forward to seeing more writing from Elise and from the other entrants who submitted this time around. So thank you again, Elise, and we really look forward to seeing more of your work. Now, this brings us to the point where we announce the 3 winners of our Microfiction Award of the Sunshine and Winter Microfiction Writing Competition. We'll announce them in ascending order, and we'll read each piece as we go. Now, in 3rd place, Danielle has the vouchers, for a $100 Sun Bookshop gift voucher, we have Sunshine in Winter's Yet to Come by Michael Harrison. This is just a fantastic piece. Congratulations, Michael. I'm a huge science fiction fan myself. In fact, that entire shelf there from top to bottom is all science fiction. And I particularly loved your piece. And Richard loved it as well. So I'm really looking forward to hearing this one read aloud. It's read aloud by a library staff member, Puffy, who is also a science fiction fan. So I'll cue it up now, and it's Sunshine in Winter's Yet to Come, our 3rd place prize winner by Michael Harrison.
Today I'm reading Sunshine in Winter's Yet to Come. It was a cool 26 degrees on the last day of school. Tomorrow was like the start of winter holidays. The teacher had excitedly removed the winter seals, allowing fresh air to flood past the muddy places in the back. The lunch bell rang early. She couldn't fix an extra hour of utility weather before the smoke forced them back. But nothing sound the moon as they dug in and out of shade, seeing who could stand barefoot atop the blistering asphalt the longest. Most might pass by the afternoon. Teachers and kids alike were restless to escape the stuffy vacuum-sealed rooms and savour what little remained to enjoy the day. Eventually, the final day. Kids scurried into the hallway, snatching bags of books, hastily slapping their hands, essentially for a relative of the top controlled buildings. On the way, the kids jumped the beach fencing and dived into the water, exploring the old submerged houses in the shallows and finding treasures. It was shaping up to be a beautiful day.
Now, I don't know about you, Scott, or everyone else, but I had a real trouble hearing that one.
It was a little bit faint.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, put you on the spot. Do you have it handy?
Yes, I can pull it up. It's in my email. Just give me a second. I would love to read that story.
I think you should read it because if I had trouble reading it, I'm sure others, hearing it, I'm sure others may have, and
Yes.
Yep, couldn't hear very well. Yep. So,
I am more than happy to
I'm
read.
going to make you do an extra reading tonight.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure.
It's a winner and it deserves to be heard.
Let me just find it. Here it is. I think I'll just have to search for Michael's name, and it'll just take me a moment. Here it is.
Excellent.
Yes, here it is. So I don't know if I'll be able to equal Pathy's reading because he's very good, but I will do my best.
You look very expressive, but we just couldn't hear it very well.
Okay, so Sunshine in Winter's Yet to Come by Michael Harrison. It was cool 26 degrees on the last day of school. Tomorrow would mark the start of the winter holidays, and the kids couldn't believe their luck. The teacher had excitedly removed the window sills, allowing fresh air to flood the classroom. Not even the big kids could remember that happening before. The lunch bell rang early, gifting the kids an extra hour to enjoy the weather before smoke forced them back into shelter. But nothing could sour the mood as they ducked in and out of the shade, seeing who could stand barefoot atop the blistering asphalt the longest. Most smoke passed by the afternoon. Teachers and kids alike were restless to escape the stuffy vacuum-sealed rooms and savour what little time remained to enjoy the day. Eventually, the final bell rang. Kids scurried into the hallways, snatching bags off hooks, hastily slapping their hats and sunscreen on before erupting from the climate-controlled buildings into the winter sun. On the way home, the kids jumped the beach fencing and dived into the water, exploring the old submerged houses in the shallows and finding treasures to bring home. It was shaping up to be a beautiful winter.
Nice.
That is a fantastic piece.
And that is the third prize winner. Is that right? Well, congratulations. These will be on your way to you soon.
Thank you again, Michael. It's my pleasure to read that. As I said, I'm a big science fiction fan. And I think that's just a great piece of science fiction. So now that brings us to second place, which is another live reading. So without further ado, the second place winner for a $150 Sun Bookshop voucher is Morning Brew by Bao T. Hyun. Congratulations, Bao. This is just a lovely story, a slice of life, a vignette of everyday life that we loved and the judge loved as well. And this one is going to be read aloud by my colleague Danielle, who is here now. So without further ado, I'll pass on to Danielle to read Morning Brew by Bao T. Hyun.
Thank you, Scott. And I have to say, I'm a tea drinker, and this little piece made me want to drink coffee. So here we go. Morning Brew. The winter sun slanted through the window, playing across the chrome of the coffee machine. The sort of sunlight that could fool the uninitiated. She knew better though, standing close to the machine for warmth. The door swung open, letting in the winter. Good morning, cold out, isn't it? She looked up from behind the machine and smiled at the first customer for the day, a regular, braving the cold for his daily brew. A small stack of coins appeared on the counter. No words were needed. She had already started the familiar motions. The machine hummed as the coffee ran through. The milk hissed under the steam wand. Swirl, pour, and a little flourish for pride. Here you are. I made it extra hot for you. Help you make it through. Delicious, as always. You're a lifesaver, you know that? No worries. Good luck out there. He cradled the cup in his hands as he left, taking a bit of warmth out with him. She smiled again at his retreating back. She would be here to help them make it through, one cup at a time. She turned back to the machine, waiting for the next customer. The end.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Bao. That is just a fantastic piece. Yeah, it's so evocative. It just takes you right there. Such a tight story as well. Microfiction is very difficult to write a story in 200 words, as Richard will say. And I think that is just a fantastic story. So thank you and congratulations again. Now that brings us finally to our first place getter. The first place getter, the winner of the Brimbank Writers and Readers Festival Sunshine in Winter Microfiction Competition 2021 for a $250 Sun Bookshop voucher is Knitting by Lana Bedford. Congratulations, Lana. This is just a story with a beautiful internal rhythm, as you will hear. It's evocative, it just rolls, and it tells such a beautiful story of the last year and a half or so as well. There's so much in there to take from it after our experience of going through COVID. This is a story that I'm going to read aloud. I thought I was only going to get to read one, so lucky me, I get to read two. I'm very excited. And I'm really looking forward to reading your story, Lana. Thank you. So, Knitting by Lana Bedford. This winter, I learned how to knit. Knit one, inhale. Purl one, exhale. When winter made me shiver, the warmth of the wool in my lap made me feel safe. Knit one, inhale. Purl one, exhale. When winter woke me in the middle of the night, knitting rocked me back to sleep. Knit one, inhale. Purl one, exhale. When winter questioned me, the click, clack of my knitting needles answered back. Knit one, inhale. Purl one, exhale. When winter made me cry, I dried my eyes with large balls of scratchy wool. Knit one, inhale. Purl one, exhale. When winter threatens to bully me, I threaten to take out an eye or impale a chest with my biggest knitting needle. Knit one, inhale. Purl one, exhale. When my scarf is twice the length of the couch, I cast off. I wrap it around my neck. I smile. It is perfect. Not one dropped stitch. The sun shines through the dirty window. It's now too hot to wear a scarf. I scrunch up the scarf and throw it on the top shelf of the wardrobe. I flop backwards onto my bed and laugh. Thank you, Lana. And congratulations for being our first place winner in our microfiction competition. That is just as
it's fun.
And it's just a beautiful piece with a beautiful internal rhythm that you just hear in your head when you read it. And Richard, who has some judging notes and for us, but he's pre-recorded. We'll talk about this a little further in just a moment and mention this. But before we get to that, congratulations again, Lana. Congratulations, Val. Congratulations, Michael. A fantastic array of entries, very hard to choose from them, but three very worthy winners there with those three. Now, as I said, our judge, Richard Holt, has recorded some thoughts for us about the competition and about the writing that came in. So I'll share that with you now. Just a moment.
Hello everyone, my name's Richard Holt, and it's been my pleasure to be involved in the Sunshine in Winter microfiction competition. I'm passionate about this form of creative writing and hoped the writers of Brimbank would embrace it, explore its possibilities, and find expression through it for their thoughts. I wasn't disappointed. I was very impressed by the breadth of storytelling in the entries. In them, I found love and passion, strangely familiar futures, beautifully crafted depictions of the magic of the everyday, moments of poetry, and moments of humour. Most of all, what I found was a group of writers confident and comfortable in their own voices. That made reading the stories a pleasure. Like poetry, great microfiction involves an intimate contract between writer and reader, and I felt that in many of the pieces in Sunshine in Winter. But I had to make a decision, and that meant leaving some great stories unrewarded. So my main message as a judge of this competition to everyone who entered is thank you. Keep writing and never underestimate the power of your own stories. The stories I ended choosing stood out as the most complete and sustained narratives among other great stories that included superb moments. None better than my favourite line in the competition, which sang off the page. So special mention goes to Elaine Yak's changes for this poetic moment. I will make no enemy of this tree's shedding, even if I have to sweep the leaves away. Magic, the things you can do with a few words. I'd like to acknowledge how wonderful it was also to read stories by young writers just starting out on their creative writing journeys, and to know that the art of creative writing continues to thrive wherever stories are valued. So to the winners. I chose in third place Michael Harrison's Sunshine in Winter's Yet to Come. It is no small feat to create convincing science fiction, or in this instance, future fiction, in just 200 words. But I was there with the children in this climate-altered future. I commend a well-crafted story that lived up to the potential of an ambitious premise. In second place, I chose Morning Brew by Bao Ti Hin because it was well observed and beautifully understated. It took a familiar interaction between barista and customer and recast it as a story worth telling for its own sake. The piece I chose in first place was another exercise in restraint, with a beautiful repeated refrain literally knitting together the elements in the story of the same name. The winner of the Sunshine in Winter microfiction competition is Lana Bedford for her story, Knitting. Lana, yours was a piece that stood out as carefully crafted and well observed. It told a focused narrative and concluded well. It drew me in as good microfiction should. So congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to everyone who took up pen or keyboard and created something new out of this opportunity. Good luck with your creative writing. All the best. Cheers.
So thank you to Richard, and thank you again for everybody for submitting. We would particularly like to thank, as we wrap things up, the people whose work we've read today. Elise P, Ursula Vacevic, Tom Halpin, Michael Harrison, Bao Hyun, Lana Bedford, thank you again. And of course, the young entrants who entered our competition, despite being ineligible for prizes. Your passion just wowed us, and we're so keen to see more of your work. So thank you, Elise P, Emily Suski, Michaela Todorovsky, Uban Kashif, Hafsa, and other students, those students all from Sunshine Heights Primary and Copperfield College, and also Gabrielle Holland, who I believe is only in year 5. So again, congratulations, of course, to our award winners. We'll be in touch with each award winner to arrange getting your prizes to you. I have your contact details and you'll be hearing from me very soon. The Brimbank Writers and Readers Festival continues on for another day. So if you've enjoyed this event, there are other events happening tomorrow. Please check the library website and the BWRF website, and you will see other events you can attend. And if you would like to join the mailing list for future events, just pop your details into the chat and we'll pass them on to the festival team. So thank you again for attending.
Or you can just email writersfestival@brimbank.vic.gov.au.
Thank you. Thank you for attending on this very rainy night.
Hi, Cosmo.
I think we can all be glad that we stayed in and go off and spend some serious couch time with our pets. Thank you again to all the entrants. It was an absolute pleasure to read your stories and an absolute pleasure to read them aloud as well.
Yes,
so thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
And we'll see you all again.